Have you ever felt like you need a PhD in theoretical physics just to keep up with the MCU lately? Yeah, me too. Remember the sheer excitement when we first heard the word multiverse? It promised endless possibilities, surprise cameos, and stories we only dreamed of. Spider-Man: No Way Home delivered on that promise in a huge way. It was epic, emotional, and everything we wanted. But since then, things have gotten complicated. It feels like Marvel's multiverse has become less of a grand, cohesive story and more of a convenient plot device. A get-out-of-jail-free card for storytelling. Need to bring back a dead character? Multiverse. Want a shocking cameo? Multiverse. Need to explain a plot hole? You guessed it, multiverse. What started as an exciting concept is starting to feel like a crutch, and it's making the stakes feel incredibly low. Let's break down the core issues. First, the stakes problem. If there are infinite versions of every character, does any single character's death or sacrifice really matter? When Loki was killed by Thanos in Infinity War, it was a gut punch. It felt final and tragic. But now, we have a whole series about a different Loki. We saw Gamora die, but now a past version is running around. It cheapens the emotional impact. If there's always another version just a dimension away, the sense of permanent loss, which is crucial for good drama, just evaporates. We're no longer worried about our heroes because, in the back of our minds, we know another one could just pop in from Earth 838. Then there's the consistency problem. The rules of the multiverse seem to change with every movie and show. In Loki, the TVA prunes timelines to protect the sacred timeline. In Doctor Strange, in the Multiverse of Madness, incursions happen when someone from one universe spends too much time in another. In Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, which isn't MCU but still influential, characters can be pulled into another dimension by a super collider. And don't even get me started on dreamwalking versus astral projection versus universe hopping. It's all a bit of a mess. When the rules are constantly shifting, it's hard for the audience to invest. It feels like the writers are just making it up as they go along to serve whatever the immediate plot needs. This leads to the third problem: audience fatigue. The multiverse requires a lot of homework. To fully understand Multiverse of Madness, you kind of need to have watched WandaVision. To get Loki, you need to remember the specific events of Avengers Endgame. It's becoming less like watching a movie and more like studying for an exam. This required viewing model can be alienating for casual fans. Remember the early days of the MCU? You could pretty much jump into any movie and have a good time. Now, if you miss a single Disney Plus series, you might be completely lost. That's a big ask, and it's starting to burn people out. We want to be entertained, not assigned homework. So, how did we get here? Phase 4 of the MCU was all about expansion. After the epic conclusion of the Infinity Saga, Marvel needed a new, even bigger concept to build towards. The multiverse was the logical next step. It allowed them to introduce new characters like America Chavez, reintroduce characters from other studios like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and create massive crossover events. The potential was, and still is, immense. The problem isn't the concept itself, but the execution. Think about the best multiverse stories. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, for example. It used the multiverse to explore one character's inner life, her regrets, her potential, and her relationship with her family. The spectacle served the character, not the other way around. The MCU seems to be doing the opposite. The characters are often just pawns to move the bigger, more confusing multiverse plot forward. We're losing the personal, character-driven stories that made us fall in love with the MCU in the first place. Iron Man wasn't great because of the big CGI fights. It was great because we cared about Tony Stark's journey of redemption. Another symptom of this problem is what I call cameo baiting. The promise of the multiverse has turned every new project into a guessing game of who will show up. While the Spider-Man in No Way Home was a perfectly executed, story-driven surprise, the Illuminati and Multiverse of Madness felt less so. They appeared, said some cool lines, and were then unceremoniously killed off. It felt like a cheap thrill, a moment designed for Twitter reactions rather than serving the story in a meaningful way. It was fan service for the sake of fan service, and that can get old really fast. It trains the audience to expect spectacle over substance. So, is the multiverse a lost cause for Marvel? I don't think so. There's still a chance to right the ship. The upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine looks like it might tackle the multiverse with the kind of self-aware, satirical humor it desperately needs. And Avengers: Secret Wars is poised to be the big finale of this whole saga. My hope is that Marvel uses Secret Wars not just as a giant cameo fest, but as a way to clean the slate, to collapse the messy, convoluted multiverse back into something more manageable. They need to reestablish the rules and stick to them. They need to make the stakes feel real again. Maybe Secret Wars ends with a streamlined, rebooted universe. It would be a bold move, but it might be necessary to clear away the clutter and let new, character-focused stories breathe. The multiverse can be an incredible tool for storytelling, but like Thor's hammer, it should be wielded with purpose and care, not just swung around wildly hoping to hit something cool. Ultimately, we fell in love with the MCU because of its characters. We cared about Steve Rogers' unwavering morality, Natasha Romanoff's search for redemption, and Thor's journey from arrogant prince to worthy king. The spectacle was the icing on the cake. The multiverse has flipped that recipe, prioritizing the spectacle and leaving the characters underdeveloped. If Marvel can remember that the heart of their universe isn't the infinite possibilities, but the singular, relatable heroes at its center, then they can save not just one universe, but the entire franchise. What do you all think? Are you feeling the multiverse fatigue, or are you still excited for what's to come? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more deep dives into your favorite movies and shows. It really helps the channel out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.